everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm bringing you my August wrap-up. So in August I ended up reading 19 things, and so it was quite a bit of a good reading month for me. I did participate in the Choose Your Own Adventure Readathon, which was hosted by Chelsea Zhao, and I also participated in the second month of the Fullmetal Challenge, which is hosted by Novel Serendipity. And so I'll link both of those channels down in the description box below, or at least the announcement videos for those two challenges, so that you can check them out. The Choose Your Own Adventure Readathon is going to be up, I believe, forever. So if you want to try it out yourself, you definitely should. It was a lot of fun. And so, yeah, I did once again do a monthly vlog, but I'm still unsure with what I want to do about my wrap-ups. I do talk about what I read during the month in that vlog. The vlog is actually split up into two parts for last month because the footage was so long, but if you watch the vlog, you'll definitely hear my thoughts on these books, as well as the star ratings of what I gave each of the things that I read, because that is not something I share in these monthly wrap-ups. I am still unsure how I want to do my wrap-ups, but for right now, I'm just going to do a regular monthly wrap-up, since I know a lot of you don't watch the vlog. But I do have some of the books here that I have already done videos on, so I will let you know what those are now, because I will not be talking about them here. So of course I'm going to have the Book One Cozies Club selection for August, which was Poison Pen, the first book in the Forensic Handwriting Mystery Series by Sheila Lowe. I have two types of videos on my channel for this one. I have the chapter by chapters, which are my audio only reading vlogs, where I give you my spoilery impromptu thoughts as I read through the book. And so if you'd like to read along with me, or have already read it and would like to hear my thoughts as I read through it, definitely check out that playlist, link down in the description box below. Or you can hear my general unspoilery thoughts in my series First Impressions video, which is also linked down in the description box below. Then I have the Monochrome Manga Club selections. So I have a video called Monochrome Manga Club Series First Impressions, and that's where I talk about the thoughts on the Monochrome Manga Club, or my in real life manga club, which is named something else. But I talk about the selections monthly in those videos. So I have a video that covers these two volumes, which is The Demon Prince of Momochi House Volume 1 by Aya Shoto, and I also have Volume 1 of Ragna Crimson by Daiki Kobayashi. My thoughts on that one in that video as well. Then the last thing that I already have a video published on are my series thoughts video for Dive, the manga series. This one is original story by Etomori, art by Ruzuru Akashiba, character design by Suzuhito Yasuda in collaboration with Animation Dive Committee. So I have a series thoughts video that talks about my thoughts on the entire series up on my channel, and also linked down in the description box below. So those are the things that I read during August, which I've already given my thoughts on in separate videos. So if you're interested in hearing what I thought about all of those, definitely check out the links down in the description box below. So now on to the things that I don't have other videos talking about my thoughts on. I read volumes 1 through 7 of Incurable Case of Love by Maki and Joji. This is a manga series that follows our main character, Nanase, who witnesses a medical emergency when she is in high school, and the doctor that comes to help, she immediately falls head over heels for him. She decides that she wants to go into nursing, and then when she is an adult, she actually ends up working at his hospital. And he ends up being not the kind doctor that she met on the street that day several years ago, but he is cranky, he is hated by all of the rest of the nurses, and just completely opposite from the person that she experienced way back when. So this series follows her getting to know him a little bit better, him getting to know her, and their relationship. So I had heard glorious things about this series. I had heard nothing but rave reviews on it. Everybody said it was such a good series. And I'll cycle through the installments so that you can see all of the covers. But I did not have that experience with this series. I have read Maki and Joji's Happy Marriage before. That is a 10-volume manga series that follows a couple who kind of enter into a marriage of convenience, if you will. And I had issues with the manga series, but I enjoyed the live-action Japanese drama adaptation of it. This particular series, I had the same issue. One of the things that came up in Happy Marriage was something that also happened in this series, and it happened really early in the series, and I didn't like that. I will tell you that it has to do with the fact that our main character gets slapped with force. I mean, you can see her head move when he slaps her, for no good reason. Not that there's any good reason for a man to slap a woman, just in my opinion. But he slapped her, and in Happy Marriage that also happens, for no good reason, between a married couple. And I couldn't with that. So anyway, like I said, it happened really early on. I think it was in the first volume, if not the second. I think it was the first volume. I didn't like that. It put a big damper on my anticipation for this series. And then as I read through the series, I just could not get behind this couple. I didn't enjoy her. She is kind of, I don't know what the word is, but she's just not there all the time. She makes kind of dumb mistakes. She doesn't think through things, and the way she reacts to things is, I couldn't get on board with her. And then him, I just couldn't get on board with him either. I don't feel like either of them grew very much during this series, if at all. I don't feel like they grew as a couple either. There's some things that happened towards the end where I was just like, really? Yeah. So this was more of a middle of the road. I enjoyed it, but I didn't really enjoy it. And it's making me question whether or not I should continue with Maki and Joji's work. Because although I really enjoy her art style, I really enjoy how she portrays the characters' expressions, I can't get behind her storytelling. There are things in how she depicts things that happen between a couple that just I can't get on board with. And so I do have one more duology from this mangaka. You'll see it in my manga haul that has probably already posted to my channel. So that's pretty much going to be the deciding factor on whether or not I'm going to continue with this mangaka's work, because 2 times already I just haven't really enjoyed the story. And I enjoyed the drama adaptation of Happy Marriage more than the actual manga, like I said. This series does have a live action drama adaptation, so I just found out that it's going to be on Viki soon, and so I'm going to wait until that's up and posted, and then I will watch that drama there and see what I think of it. But this series was a letdown. It wasn't as good as I expected. It was enjoyable, middle of the road for me, but it wasn't one that I will be raving about, obviously. So I also read Bleach Volume 3. This is Omnibus 3, so it includes Volumes 7, 8, and 9. I have continued my read-a-watch along with my daughter, And so I was supposed to have read this in July, but I didn't get around to finishing it then. And so I did read it at the beginning of August, and I really enjoyed it. We've watched the entire anime already, so I kind of know lots of things that happen. But I've never read the manga, so that's kind of been my mission, to do a read a watch along. It's been a while since we've watched the anime, and we've started recollecting the series on Blu-ray because we do have them on DVD. But I've been really enjoying this series. It's about our substitute Soul Reaper Ichigo Kurosaki, and he ends up inheriting these powers from a Soul Reaper, Rukia, who gets injured in a battle, and the thing that has injured Rukia is going after Ichigo and his family, and so he inherits these powers from Rukia so that he can protect and save his family, and that causes a world of trouble in the Soul Society where Rukia is from, because he should not have these powers, and Rukia should not have given him these powers, and so we're kind of dealing with the repercussions of that at the moment. And so we have watched up to the end of this volume, which I believe is episode number 24, and that's in season 2. And so I am going to continue reading these, and we're going to continue watching along, but I really enjoyed this one. And I should mention it's by Tite Kubo. So then I started the readathon, and that was a week-long readathon where we were guided by prompts. So I couldn't really pick out a TBR beforehand, but my first prompt was to read a book that was in a series. And so for that one I read Ragna Crimson Volume 1, which again, like I told you, has its own video. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on that one, definitely check out the Monochrome Manga Club Series First Impressions video. But the second prompt I got was to read a book from an author that uses a pen name. And so for that one I decided to read Christopher Pike's The Midnight Club. This again was a reread for me. This I actually read when I was a teenager. This book is actually my copy from when I was a teen. So you can see that there is a huge crease in the cover, and it doesn't look great, but that's okay. It's still readable. And so I had decided to go ahead and read this one because it is one of my BookTube spend selections, and I really need to get those read. But this one follows a group of teenagers that are residing in a hospice, and to pass the time they have formed this club called the Midnight Club, and they basically get together at midnight and tell each other stories. They can be stories that are from their past so that the members of the group get to know them a little bit better, or they're stories that have been made up, completely fictional stories. And so this book follows the members of this group telling each other stories, and then, you know, checking in with them in regards to their illnesses, because all of the teenagers who are there are terminal. For me, when I think of Christopher Pike, I think more of a thriller, YA thriller, maybe horror. But I had, like I said, read this one when I was a teen. I just didn't remember what it was about. And for me, this one had no thrillery elements. There was no suspense. And while I enjoyed reading it, it wasn't what I expected. It was more like a contemporary book. Like I said, following these members in this club, telling each other stories until they passed. I do think that the summary of this book is misleading because it definitely gives you that thrillery vibe. Like maybe there's a little bit of horror in there somewhere, but in this book there really isn't. And the thing that is mentioned in the summary on the back of this book is more like a passing comment. I do feel like this is more along the lines of like a Lurleen McDaniel book. I did read some of her books when I was a teen. Those books are also about terminally ill teenagers and how they deal with their diagnosis and how it affects their family and their loved ones. So this was more like that to me, and not really thrillery or suspenseful or anything like that. There is an epilogue at the end of this book that kind of throws everything into a different direction, if you will. It kind of makes you realize that what you had just read wasn't what the theme of the book was at all. So if that's cryptic, I'm sorry, but that's definitely how that epilogue hit me. And yeah, like I said, I enjoyed this one, but I didn't really enjoy it. It wasn't as enjoyable as I had remembered it being. So yeah, I enjoyed it, but I didn't really enjoy it. So then my last prompt was to read a book under 200 pages, and I decided to go ahead and read an arc that I had through Edelweiss, and that was Rescuing Titanic, a story of quiet bravery in the North Atlantic by Flora Delargy. I believe that's what the title is. You can see it here on the picture that I have put up. But this is a children's book that is about how the Carpathia rescued the survivors of the Titanic sinking. And when I had seen this come up on Edelweiss, I was immediately interested, because if you followed me for a while, you know that I'm very interested in lots of things Titanic. I do watch a lot of documentaries, but I have never watched one from the perspective of the Carpathia, and that's what this story is. This is a heavily illustrated children's book. It's about 80 pages long. It's come out on September 7th, so by the time you're seeing this, the book has already come out. But I really enjoyed this one. It is easy enough for a child to understand, but interesting enough to hold an adult's attention. In the beginning of this book, there is a cast of characters, so that you know what characters are going to be talked about throughout this book. And each character is depicted in a crayon type drawing that looks like it was colored in by a child. It was super sweet. And I did really enjoy the rest of the illustrations as well, though the style is a little bit different from those characters that we had seen at the beginning. It does teach you things about navigational tools, like a compass. And we also get a little bit about Morse code, because obviously that's going to be a big thing that comes up in regards to how the Carpathia received the distress signal from the Titanic. And I just thought this book was super interesting. And even though it was a children's book, I was very intrigued by it. I'll definitely be picking up a copy for myself, as well as probably one for my nieces as well, because they are under 10, and I think it's something that they'd enjoy as well. So I was really glad to have read that one. I was glad to have completed the Choose Your Own Adventure readathon. Like I said, definitely check out the link down in the description box below, because it was super interesting. And I'm looking forward to another round. If you'd like to see how my rolls went with that, or my choices and the road that I took through that readathon, definitely check out the second part of my August vlog, because it shows you everything through that. And so yeah, the next thing that I ended up finishing in the month of August was book 1 in the Robotech First Generation series by Jack McKinney, and this one is called Genesis. This is the first installment in the war between the alien race Zentradi and the humans, and we follow a cast of characters like Captain Global and Rick Hunter and all of the members of the SDF-1, which is like a spacecraft. And in this world, the fighter jets, they can transform into different forms, I guess, because you have the regular jet form, so it's a fighter jet, and then you have a half jet, half body form, so it kind of has the jet on the top, but then there's also arms and legs, and then there's a full mecha body. So these pilots can change the form of the plane to better suit their needs at the time, and it's an animated series that I really enjoyed while I was growing up. This is a novelization of that animated series, and so a lot of what I read was very familiar to me, but there were some surprises in there. There were some things that I didn't remember happening that I thought was very interesting. It's also a lot more gory, I guess, because you are dealing with a war situation, and sometimes people get blown up, and that kind of thing is described in detail. And so, yeah, definitely not something that you kind of really see like how it's explained in the book in the animation. But I thought it was really interesting. It was a nice quick read for me, and it was very familiar, very nostalgic, and I really enjoyed that one, and I'm looking forward to continuing on with that series. The last two things I read in the month were Witch. So this is Will, Irma, Tirani, Cornelia, and Haylin. This is the first 2 volumes in part 1 of the Witch series, which is the 12 Portals. This story is by Elisabetta Known, and I believe the character design, let me flip to the back here, is by Alessandro Barbucci and Barbara Canepi. This is a full color graphic novel following this cast of characters, these 5 girls who name themselves Witch. They are the guardians of the veil. So it is a magical girl series, and in each of the arcs they're dealing with something a little bit different. In this one, their good friend Elion gets kidnapped and kind of brainwashed by someone from another world, and so they're trying to get their friend back and kind of make her realize that, you know, what she's been told is not what actually is, and things like that. And this, again, is a series that I'm pretty familiar with. My daughter was really into this animated series when she was a kid. I mean, she had the merch. We ended up picking up this first series of the graphic novels in the singles form when it was starting to come out. She had the t-shirts, she had bags, she watched it all the time. It was on Jetix, and I've just recently really wanted to revisit this series. I don't know if it's just because, you know, I'm getting older, or my daughter's getting older, or I don't know what it is, but I've just really wanted to revisit this series, so I started collecting these in this gorgeous omnibus editions, and I really enjoyed what I read so far. It definitely was an interesting experience for me because I'm so used to reading manga that I don't really read graphic novels, and obviously manga is backwards, so I'm used to reading right to left. In this one I have to read left to right, and that kind of threw me off a little bit, but I eventually got the hang of it, and I really enjoyed what I've read so far. Some of it was very familiar, some of it was not. A lot of the stuff that happened I didn't quite remember happening, and I didn't remember some of the characters that were mentioned either. So I'm looking forward to continuing with this series, but I really enjoyed what I have read so far. So this is everything that I read in the month of August, plus the 2 digital things that I talked about with you earlier. But let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought of them. Please, no spoilers though. So if you have made it this far in the video, or if you would just like to let me know that you are here, if you could leave me a birthday cake emoji down in the comments below, that would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out, as it is my booktube anniversary and my birthday month. So that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye!